Cedar Point has been in existence for over 150 years. With that much activity on this small peninsula in Ohio, there are bound to be some things left over from the past. Today we'll be looking at 7 remains of Cedar Point's history that can still be seen today. Shoot the Rapids was an Intamin water ride that opened in 2010. The ride was plagued with issues from the day it opened, and the ride would close forever in 2016. Though the ride is long gone, many parts of it still remain. If you ever visit Frontier Fling and look into the ride area, off to the left you'll see the Shoot the Rapids original station. This building was used as an entrance to Forbidden Frontier until recently when that attraction closed. Inside the building sits the original control booth. The other side of the building features props once used as part of Snake River Expedition. During the Halloween season, you can still walk through much of what remains of the ride when going through the Blood on the Bayou scare zone. Though this Intamin water ride is long gone, much of it still remains at the park today. Many of its water features were reused in Forbidden Frontier, and if you look closely, you can still see parts of the ride trough in the area around Frontier Fling. Parking lot trams. With a park as large as Cedar Point, you need a large parking lot. It was once believed that the parking lot was so large that it needed a tram to transport guests up to the main gate. Back in the 1960s through early 1990s, this is exactly what Cedar Point had. This tram would run from the back of the lot up to the main gate. At the main gate, it would pull around to a station where guests could be loaded and unloaded. Though the front gate has been redesigned many times, the shape of this area has remained. The space once occupied by the parking lot tram has been repurposed to add additional parking. Magnum XL200's original entrance. One of my personal favorite remnants from the past at Cedar Point is the original entrance to Magnum XL200. This is located to the right of the Magnum restrooms, just down the midway from the ride's current entrance. The ride opened with its entrance over here and several switchbacks that ran behind the Magnum bathrooms, allowing for more guests to wait in line. Over the years, the overflow queue became unnecessary as the ride became less popular. So for the ride's 20th anniversary in 2009, the entrance was relocated to where it currently stands, and a new, grander sign was added. The original entrance had its queue rails cut down to the concrete and its phone removed, but if you look closely you can still spot the concrete paths, remains of the original queue rail, and the post that once held the entrance phone, reminding you what once was there. The original road. This one's not technically at Cedar Point anymore, but it's probably the most significant item on this list. We're all familiar with the Cedar Point Causeway, and most of us are familiar with the older and less popular Chaussee. These are the only 2 roads to access the park. But contrary to what you might think, the Chaussee we now know was not the original road connecting to Cedar Point. The original Chaussee connecting to Cedar Point was in a different location, about 2 miles east of the current entrance, now located right next to Cedar Point's Sawmill Creek. The original road was built in 1913 as one of the first paved roads in Ohio. The road was much longer than the current Chaussee. This led to it being destroyed by a storm in 1919. A new road was built where the current Chaussee stands today, but the original first part of the road stretching north out to the lake still stands as a public park. Here you can find a replica of the original Chaussee entrance gate along with a walking path on top of the original road. At the end of the road you'll find a public beach and a disused NASA facility used in the Apollo program. From this point you'll also be able to see Cedar Point and the current Chaussee road. Next time you're in the area, make sure to stop by Sheldon's Marsh and walk a piece of Cedar Point history. Frontier Lift. Cedar Point Skyride is a must-ride attraction when you visit the park. But back in the 1960s, 70s, and early 80s, the park was home to not 1, but 2 different skyrides. The Frontier Lift had 2 stations just like the skyride we have now. One was located where Iron Dragon now stands, and the other was located in Frontier Town near the exit of Mine Ride. The ride would operate from 1968 to 1985. The station near Iron Dragon has been removed and replaced by Iron Dragon, but the station in Frontier Town still stands. The bottom half of the station is used as a bathroom and changing room, while the top half of the station is used as storage for various departments in the park. The cabins from the original Frontier Lift are also now used on the Skyride, along with several other parts. Space Spiral Control Booth. Space Spiral was once the tallest amusement ride in the world, with a height of 330 feet. It was also the first amusement ride to be taller than 300 feet when it opened in 1965. The ride offered a relaxing view of the entire park. The ride was closed to make way for Gatekeeper in August 2012. Though the ride was spectacularly demolished, the control booth remains in place. The booth can be seen sitting above the Gatekeeper restrooms, with its skylight still in place, originally used for observing the ride in operation. Today, the control booth is used as an office space as well as for storage. The original Grand Pavilion. You probably know about the new Grand Pavilion built in 2023 as a major addition to the boardwalk area of the park. But did you know that just steps away sits the original Cedar Point Grand Pavilion, built in 1888? This building looks very unassuming, but it holds so much history. Inside the park, it just looks like an unused building facade with a Helen Keller memorial in front of it, often decorated with theming for various park events like Haunt or Boardwalk Nights. But inside, the space is still used as a convention space as well as a training center for the food and beverage department. The building has undergone countless renovations, but it's still possible to see its original construction in some areas. Cedar Point really is a place like no other, with a history like no other. The remains of its past remind us of what once was while we enjoy the Cedar Point of today. Though we covered 7 of the most visible remains of Cedar Point's past, this video is not all-inclusive at all. What other remains of Cedar Point's history are you familiar with? Thanks for watching and see you next time.